In today's video, I'm going to be setting my Tesla suspension to 0. Tesla owners are constantly complaining about their ride quality being too stiff. It's not all of them, but a lot of them. And in all fairness, it is stiff, but coming from performance cars in my past, it's not that bad. Now, because everyone was complaining about this, I went and found a solution, and the solution was the Unplugged Performance Coilover suspension, which I had installed at their headquarters in Hawthorne, California. If you want to watch the install video, click the link down in the description. Got a jack, because like any Tesla owner, any good Tesla owner, I have no tools. Plus, I didn't want to bother Cameron every time I needed to do anything to my car. There we go, baby. Daytona jack. Look at this thing. I would tell you how much it is, but I don't look at the price tag. I'm kidding, it was $230. All right, so we got the jack here. Also got some rain today, so the hydrosilix flag has fallen. We will get that up. It will not touch the ground. I need the jack for the rear part of the car, and then for the front of the car, it's nice unplugged, engineered it so you can access the adjustments for the damping on top. All you have to do is pop off this piece of plastic. So we're gonna pop that off. Before we pop it off, I'm actually going to clean this off with the hydrosilix all-purpose cleaner. You guys know it's not a Jeebs video unless I plug this, right? 25% off, use code GJEEBSFEBRUARY or GJEEBSMARCH, changes by the month depending on when you're watching it. I'll show you a quick before and after of what that looks like. And here's an after shot of it. Brings that factory matte finish back. Looks great. Here's kind of what it looked like before. Just really had some dust on it, nothing crazy. But just keeps that off, and it doesn't add like that shine. You can see as it's drying, it has that matte look to it, which I really like. I hate when it, like the Armor All stuff adds that sheen to it. But yeah, so that all looks good. Just getting this area cleaned up, and then we'll open this up so I can show you the adjustments. For the part that gives Tesla owners anxiety, and that is working on your car. But don't worry, I'm with you. There you go, baby. See, the reason I clean it beforehand is so my hands don't get dirty. Because you don't want your hands to get dirty as a Tesla owner. You do not want to show that these cars produce exhaust. So that comes right off. It always seems like this stuff's gonna break. It doesn't. Clips just pop in and out. Very common. Just lift straight up and it'll come off appropriately. Now, the car is currently on setting 5 of 32. So setting 5 is very soft, 32 is as stiff as it goes, 0 is as soft as it goes. So today I'm gonna try to find that balance of where is this suspension best. Something else to note is the car is lowered 1/4 of an inch. If you wanna get maximum comfort out of this suspension, what I recommend is keeping your ride height stock and then putting it on between like a 5 and a 12. At Unplugged Performance, they said they normally set it at like a 12. For me, they made it a little bit softer because the goal was to make the car ride softer. The other thing to note is this car still it has a sporty feel to it. The handling is even better in the turns, which I didn't expect. So it's not like totally about being luxury. Now where are those adjustments at? So you can take a look at this. So it says S and H, stiff and hard. What does S and H mean? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's at 0 now. So you can feel when you turn this, there's little clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can actually, it's a tactile thing that you can feel. Okay, so that's on 5. And let's just confirm this one's on 5. This one's tougher to get to because the reservoir for the windshield wiper fluid is actually sitting right on top of it. See if there's a way that, and it's also interesting, there's no clip here. It looks like there was at one point. So that's something I need to readjust. But that's not why we're here today. Is anyone in there? You can see the other adjuster is right here, and then you just turn it. The first thing we're going to do is adjust these all the way up to the stiffest setting to see if we can actually feel a difference, and then I'm going to adjust them all the way down to 0, and then I'm gonna probably end on like a 12-ish to, hopefully that's like the right area to put it. I'm just interested to see if you can tell a difference. So we're gonna go all the way up to 32. 8, 29, 30, 31, 32. And 32, it basically doesn't turn anymore, just so you're aware. So it's all the way set to 32. Now this one, I played around with it a little bit off camera. If you want to see me playing with this, you can see it on OnlyFans. So this one kind of, it's sitting at an angle, and as you twist it, it pivots like this. Pivot, okay? So it goes like this. So just so you know, it's not broken or anything. That's just how it's mounted, I think, so it can fit under this reservoir properly. But okay, so my wife just notified me that I have to go get lunch, so I'm going to get lunch. And I was only halfway through, so currently the front is set to 32, the stiffest setting, and the rear is still at 5. And you can feel every, like, when I set the whole car at 32, it's going to be crazy because everything is going to be jittery, but the front is just ultra rigid right now. Every little imperfection in the road you can feel. So you might be asking yourself, why would you ever set it that stiff? The reason you would do that is for the track. 32 of 32. So it is very stiff. I want to jack the rear of the car up to get that set so we can really feel it. But it's like the car's jittery almost. Doesn't feel bad, it just feels really sporty. So that's the current update. So we're now pulling into Chinese food. I love China. They paid me to say that. Chinese government did. So you know this channel doesn't go on without sponsors. So today's sponsor is Magbach. I don't know how they come up with some of these names, but it is what it is. Anyways, this is a really slick product that I wanted to show you. Plugs in right here, and it's a wireless charger. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to install it. If you're interested in buying it, it will be linked in the description. But I thought this was a really cool product. If you're like driving Uber or something like that and you need to have your phone accessible, this is a nice way to be able to do it without taking your eyes off the road, and it charges your car. So we're gonna put this in right now. Okay, so the adhesive strip attaches here so it's nice and secure, and then there's also a Magbach phone case. The phone case is high quality, and it has a magnetic strip here that lets it connect and charge. So we're gonna put it on. It's very solid. It sits it right into place. I wouldn't be worried about it falling. And then to take it off, I just kind of twist it and pull down. That way I'm not like putting any strain on this. But it's like a really clean product. So I'm going to get it plugged in so we can see it working. It's plugged in, should be powered up. Let's see if the phone charges. There you go. Now it's charging. So phone is charging. And then again, just to take it off. Yeah, this is a really clean product. So check them out. Link is in the description for them. And I also saw on their website, I think there's like for first time buyers, you can get 10% off or whatever. But there you go. There's me getting married, and then there's the phone charging, and everything's beautiful. So yeah, thank you, Magbach. I don't know. Thank you for sponsoring the video. I appreciate it. Check them out. Link in description. Now back into the video. Let's get back to the house. We'll jack the car up. Tell you what, that SDI better not want this smoke. You better not want this smoke, because I'll give it to him. Okay, so always remember when you're jacking up your Tesla, you need to have these pucks. I'll have these ones linked in the description. They work nicely. I think they're like 23 bucks. And also, a nice thing about this, it has this rubber pad here, so even just like more protection, it's like a soft layer. So we're gonna pop these on. It's very easy. Let's see. Yep, there's the hole right there. Put it on there like that, and then we'll line this up, jack it up. You want to have your jack perpendicular to the car, so you don't want to have it at any angle. There she goes, baby. Crazy how hydraulics work. Like, I can just lift a 4,400 pound car. All right, so you can see that little bead that's back in there. That's what we have to slide either left or right, clockwise, counterclockwise. So that's what I'm going to be adjusting. I'll just spin it, and again, it has that tactile feel, so I'll be able to see, am I on 5, 10, 20, or 30, whatever. All right, just so you guys can probably hear the sound. Perfect, there we are, setting 32. So that's kind of what the piece looks like that I'm rotating. slowly release this. Car is on its stiffest setting, 32 of 32. Again, this is not adjusting ride height. We're talking about damping and how firm the car rides. I don't know if the camera is picking this up, but the car just wants to bounce. It's like if you ever seen one of those low rice rockets, Civics, where they're just like, do, 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 do. That's kind of what this feels like in a more refined manner. Now, I could see this being appealing, though, at the racetrack. It's just the fact that I don't need to be bouncing around or setting lap times on the streets. You know, I don't need this type of suspension, but it's cool to have the functionality to be able to set it like this. If you're going to go on a canyon run and you want to set it up to a little bit of a stiffer setting. When you floor the car, it takes some of the softness out of it, so it feels like it's putting a little bit more power down. It's really bouncy, but it's not crazy. You could live with this. However, if you're looking to solve the problem of the car riding too steep, you absolutely do not want to do this. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's cool to be able to adjust it. So now let's adjust it to 0, which is the softest setting, and see how that compares to the most extreme stiff setting. I think what's fascinating to me is the fact that I have to manually adjust this, which is fine. But the cars that come with this, like for example, the Civic Type R, Veloster N, the Porsche Macan, there's an endless amount of cars where you can adjust the dampening on the fly with a touch of a button. It's interesting to think of the mechanisms they have to create to make that happen. What's going on here? One day I was on top of a parking garage in Chandler, and Officer Greg, I think that was his name, Officer Greg, he came to the top. Usually when cops see me in parking garages, I immediately get kicked off. And I'm like, hey, I'm not Antifa, I'm just taking pictures or video of my car. I've never done donuts on a parking garage. You know, they're always kicking me out. But Officer Greg did not, because Officer Greg was in the cult, baby. This guy showed up and I'm like, hey, I'm just taking some pictures. He's like, yeah, no problem, I was just checking out a Y. Haven't seen one yet. And this was a while ago. He had a Model 3, so it was kind of funny, so he didn't kick me off. Officer Greg, shout out. And also shout out to all the police officers that watch the channel. I appreciate your support. I recently got pulled over in California. I wasn't driving. I was in the back filming on my Jeebs golf channel. You can see that footage. If you want to see golf footage, the link is in description for the golf channel. Police are in the cult, baby. I think a good way to describe when the car is 32 of 32 on stiffness is you feel like a bobblehead. You're just kind of sitting here like, you know, that's just kind of how you feel. Too stiff for the street. Happy you can do it. Let's get it back to flaccidity. Folks, now I try to keep my reactions to things fairly realistic, we'll call it. I think I've solved the issue of having a crazy stiff suspension in your Tesla. We're on setting 0, and I actually can't believe how great this is. Now, if I would have had it on a stock ride height, I think this makes it darn closer to something like Mercedes GLC, or what I'm saying is just like a German luxury SUV. Also, everyone seems to think in Tesla world, floor it. Yeah, the car just, you can see how it's a lot more travel and sponginess in the suspension, which is good because it's eating the bumps up. This feels great. Like, I try to keep my reactions, like, I'm not trying to overreact for views or whatever. Like, I try to give you a realistic idea of what you can expect, because that way when I say something in the future, it holds weight to it, whatever that is. So I try to keep it as realistic as possible. This is so good. Setting 0, I'm not even going to put it on 12. I know I said I was going to do that earlier. I'm leaving the car on 0. It's perfect. It is so nice how it travels now. And I wish, maybe what I'll do when I go out to California, because I did order more stuff from Unplugged Performance for a track day coming up. I'm doing like a track GTS build. One thing I don't like about the coilover suspension is there's like a certain hit. When you hit a certain type of bump, and it doesn't matter what corner it is, it has like kind of a cheap sound to it. And I'm going to address that with them to see if there's a way to mitigate that, because on the stock suspension, if I remember correctly, it did not make that sound. So that's like my only downside about the suspension. Maybe we'll find a fix, who knows. But setting 0 is money. Like it gives the car that cushy feel. Everyone in Tesla world seems to think that the fix for like, oh, Model 3, Model Y need a air suspension, because they've never ever been interested in cars before, and air suspension is the only term that they know. It adds endless sophistication to the car. You just don't want that type of maintenance down the road. What they need to do is study like the Mercedes E-Class, the Mercedes C-Class, the Mercedes GLC, and fix their suspension. You don't want to have an air suspension. It adds weight to the car. It's not the answer, is all I'm saying. I'm fine with it being in the Model X and the Model S. That's fine. But as Tesla's entry-level vehicles, and in order to keep costs down as much as they can, air suspension's not the answer. I don't know from an engineering standpoint, because again, I'm just a guy on the internet, and I'm not an engineer. There's a reason that Tesla makes the cars so stiff, and I'm working on getting you an answer. I don't have the answer as of yet. Luxury coilover suspension from Unplugged. I'm not sponsored by Unplugged or anything like that. I paid for this. It was $3,000 after install. Train tracks. Oh, it's like I just ran over a stick of butter. Car, is that a GTR? Yes, it is GTR. Man, that looks good. I want a GTR. I've been considering replacing the M2 with the GTR, but I've been considering replacing the M2 with just about every car on the market. So, even though the M2 is the answer, I have the answer. You know, it's like, you know, in conclusion, this is sick! This is so cool. I'm happy I tinkered with this, because setting zero is the way to go. And then it's very easy to adjust. So when I go to do my track day, I'll stiffen the car up. The suspension costs like $2,500, and then for me to get it installed and unplugged, it was $600. It does not need to be installed at Unplugged Performance. If there's a performance shop in your local area, you can order them in and then have them install it. And Unplugged also can find you a local installer that's comfortable doing coilover suspensions, because it's really not that sophisticated once you've done it. You just need someone that's comfortable doing it. The other thing to note is the 0 to 60 time on this car is 4.8 seconds. This is a quick car. Little bump. Stick of butter. This is a quick car, so in order to build a car that can handle that type of speed, you have to stiffen up the suspension and do things that make the car rigid. So that's another thing to note. So if you want to like evenly compare this, it would be compared to like a GLC 43, which has a stiffer suspension. So just something to note, it has to be slightly stiff, but I just think the ride quality could be a little bit better. Also, I did have the 19-inch wheels on my Model Y. Those are for sale right now if you want them. They're $1,500. The tires are brand new. They have 2,000 miles on them. No scratches. Comes with the hubcaps. Just message me on Instagram or send me an email. If you put the 19s on, the car rides even better. So there are ways to get a better ride quality. The 20-inch wheels just look amazing, and that's what a lot of people go for, including myself. The 19s, a little bit more range, a little bit better ride quality, don't look as good. The 20s look better. You have a little bit more sporty handling. The car's a little bit sharper from what I've noticed, but you lose range, you decrease ride quality. So there's trade-offs to everything. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. Please like the video and help me grow the channel. Hey, if you have friends that are into Teslas or just into cars, or they like to laugh, have them watch this channel. Help me grow. Thank you guys for the support. Also, thank you to Magback, I hope I'm saying that right, for sponsoring the video. I appreciate it. I'll have their stuff linked in the description below. But as you can see, this is it's a nice thing. It just sits on there. It's a really clean look. And the color is like, on the case is like Neptune blue, like a Porsche color. And the other thing that's kind of fun about the suspension traveling like this is it's kind of like a dune buggy. So when you get on it, the front end lifts up. It's just that comfortable experience that you want to have. I actually feel like I really discovered something cool with this suspension. And I'm really happy I did that went to extremes, because Look, that right over a train track. Happy I did that because when in the original video, a lot of you were like, I thought your reaction would be better. My advice to Unplugged Performance is if your customers are looking for comfort, you should set it to 0. Like, no doubt. This feels so good. I mean, it just feels comfortable, and that's what I want this car to be. But while also having the adjustability to take it to the track or the canyons, which I understand that's ridiculous to take this car to the track or the canyons, but at the same time, they perform well. Like, with the low center of gravity, the great handling and like razor sharp acceleration, they perform well there. That's why people take them, and I think you should take whatever car you want to the track. That's about all I got for you guys. Enough of me talking. If you have any questions about the suspension, leave it down in the comments below. I'll make sure to get back to as many of you as possible. Thank you for watching. See you next time.